Competitive Pokemon always revolves around the best Pokemon available. People play to win, so the best Pokemon are used the most often. Nothing too revolutionary there. Landorus T in standard play has close to a 50% usage rate, and in lower tiers you have Scizor leading UU with 26% and Flygon leading RU with 31%, just to name a few. Uncommonly though, you may have Pokemon that are literally on 100% of teams, like in Generation 2 with Snorlax, and in Generation 6 and 7 Ubers with Primal Groudon. Some Pokemon are just that good. But the situation in Generation 8 Ubers is very interesting. There's not just one Pokemon that belongs on every team, there's three. Yveltal, Necrozma Dusk Mane, and Eternatus are on close to every single team. Think about that. In most Ubers games you play, half the team is already decided. We're going to talk about why that is, and why Calyrex-Shadow doesn't have the same usage despite being just as influencing on the metagame. But first, subscribe to the channel. Most of you are not subscribed and it's free and helps out the channel a lot. As a note, for usage rates of Ubers, we talk about the usage rates for tournaments. Normally I use the usage rate from the Pokemon Showdown ladder, because for the most part they tend to match up with tournament play, which is considered stronger. However, the Ubers ladder, because it's the tier for legendary Pokemon, tends to attract a more casual player base, and that skews the data away from what is seen in tournament play. Before we talk about the big three, we actually have to talk about Calyrex-Shadow. Calyrex-Shadow is one of the, if not the most influential Pokemon in the metagame. It's extremely strong and fast and has powerful stab moves like Astral Barrage. Additionally, its ability means that it gains special attack with a kill. Something that fast and strong can snowball out of control quickly, and every team absolutely must have ways to deal with Calyrex. Calyrex' second ability, Unnerve, also means you can't use berries like the Kasib berry to deal with Calyrex. Calyrex usage is very high, but the reason you don't see it on every team is mainly because of team fit. Not every team needs a powerful wall breaker. Some teams, like defensive teams, may get more value out of the team slot with a more defensive option. In other cases, sometimes a team needs a wall breaker, but Calyrex-Shadow doesn't synergize well with the existing core. It's an interesting case where the most threatening Pokemon isn't the most used Pokemon. Versatility is sometimes more important than raw power when it comes to usage. All this being said though, Calyrex has one flaw: Dark types. The Ghost and Psychic combination can't beat Dark, and Calyrex-Shadow would have to use its other options like Trick or Draining Kiss if it wants to beat them. Dark types are no doubt the best way to try and deal with Calyrex-Shadow, and every team needs a Dark type. That leads us to Yveltal, the number one most used Pokemon in Ubers. Yveltal has always been a very popular Pokemon in Ubers, seeing decent usage in Generation 6 and 7. Yveltal is extremely versatile and can fit on a lot of different team structures. Dark Aura boosted attacks like Foul Play and Knock Off are always valuable. Similarly, moves like U-Turn, Taunt, and Defog are high value moves that every team appreciates. Last but not the least, priority moves like Dark Aura boosted Sucker Punch are always valuable too. Yveltal is highly customizable and can fit on any team structure. If you want an attacker, you can use an offensive spread and item, or if you want a defensive structure, you can use defensive EV spreads and moves like Defog and Toxic. Yveltal can even try and sweep with Hone Claws. In Generation 8, Yveltal went from being a popular Pokemon to the most popular Pokemon because of Calyrex-Shadow and other minor reasons like the addition of heavy duty boots and Knockoff being more valuable with Mega Pokemon and Z moves being gone. When you look at it from the lens of the fact that you need a Dark type on every team, the question isn't why would you use Yveltal, it's why wouldn't you use Yveltal on every team. It can do whatever a team needs and is extremely customizable. It is the best Dark type in the Ubers tier. But now we have the second most used Pokemon in Necrozma Dusk Mane, and once again it's all about versatility. Interestingly, even though Necrozma has a huge attack stat, its main movesets are defensive, although it still can go offensive, and we'll get to that later. Because it's a Steel type, which is the best defensive type in the game and has Prism Armor, it's incredibly difficult to take down. Necrozma Dusk Mane can deal with a lot of powerful offensive threats like Xerneas, Galarian Darmanitan's Icicle Crash, and Eternatus. Add in the fact that Necrozma has Stealth Rock, Knock Off, Thunder Wave, and most importantly Moonlight, it's clear to see why Necrozma is so valuable defensively. Moonlight in particular is a must-have for walls because reliable recovery gives walls the ability to repeatedly counter what they're supposed to counter. In one team slot, you're able to cover a lot of the threatening Pokemon of the Ubers tier. Even things that you don't necessarily beat 1v1 probably can't one-hit KO you because of Prism Armor, and moves like Knock Off and Thunder Wave are annoying to switch into. For example, Ho-Oh has a natural type advantage, but hates losing heavy-duty boots, and it also hates getting paralyzed. A majority of teams, including offensive teams, love being able to fit a lot of utility and cover a lot of the metagame in only one team slot. But even teams that don't want that can still use offensive Necrozma. Offensive Necrozma has one of the strongest attack stats in the game and an amazing offensive move pool with moves like Dragon Dance and Swords Dance. Items like Weakness Policy synergize well with Prism Armor, and there's basically no team that doesn't benefit from either defensive Necrozma or offensive Necrozma. Similar to Yveltal, the question isn't why, it's why not. Necrozma Dusk Mane is a versatile steel type with an expansive move pool. Last but not the least, we have Eternatus, the last member of the big three who still has a crazy 80% usage rate. Eternatus is one of the big three in part because of its ability to check Yveltal, causing it to be found on a vast majority of teams. Eternatus outspeeds Yveltal, which means it can switch in and recover off the damage. Pressure also comes in handy to PP stall certain attackers too. You might be noticing a trend here. In singles Pokemon, the ability to recover health is incredibly important because it means you can't be worn down over time. When we say that X counters Y, it's able to do that consistently. Eternatus' combination of speed and bulk also make it a good Kyogre check, and also lets it check Marshadow and Ho-Oh if it's burnt by Sacred Fire. In many ways, it's similar to Necrozma Dusk Mane in how it's versatile. It has great typing, bulk, and access to strong damaging and support moves. The difference is that while Necrozma Dusk Mane uses Prism Armor to check Pokemon, Eternatus uses its speed. With its massive speed, it's able to switch into attackers and recover off damage. Also like Necrozma, it can run an offensive moveset too. Eternatus has powerful moves like Dynamax Cannon, Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, and even Meteor Beam. Eternatus is also one of the best poison spreaders with Toxic and Sludge Bomb. Interestingly, before Eternatus, there weren't many poison-type Ubers, so Toxic Spikes was a very viable strategy in older generations of Ubers. Eternatus shuts down that tactic completely. Simply put, Eternatus is a highly customizable Pokemon that can adapt its moveset, item, and EV spread to accommodate its team's weakness. Looking at these three Pokemon, you can get a picture of what a Pokemon needs to be in order to be used a lot. It's all about role compression and versatility. Yveltal isn't the best Calyrex-Shadow answer, but it's a Calyrex check that can do the most things. Eternatus isn't strictly the best Kyogre counter, but how many Pokemon can check Kyogre and Marshadow? How many Pokemon can switch into both Xerneas and Eternatus? Basically only Necrozma. Ubers has a lot of threatening Pokemon, and being able to answer those threats in as few team slots as possible is extremely valuable. On top of that, these Pokemon fit on a lot of different team structures, from offense to stall. They have versatility in that they can choose between offensive and defensive movesets, and then in the movesets themselves, it is highly customizable. Highly customizable movesets increase the odds of a particular Pokemon being the right fit for a particular team. It happens that in Generation 8 Ubers, there are 3 Pokemon that fit that description, and together they form the big 3 of competitive Ubers Pokemon. Also, if you like my stuff, I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Roy, who's looking to stream Pokemon Showdown full time. His channel is Roy Showdown, so go shoot him a follow, the link is in the description below.